Namaste, beautiful souls, and welcome to this episode of Truth and Tarot Time, where we have guests, guidance, and tarot wisdom. And this week, I am super happy because my friend Karen is joining me. Welcome, Karen.
Yes, Deborah, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. Karen is in my power, or it's not mine, we have a power of 11. We call it power of 11, but there's actually eight of us. But we meet every 2 weeks online, and we have done for years. Although Karen's quite new to the group,
Yes, just the last.
but it's pretty much a satsang, wouldn't you agree? It's a satsang where we just like-minded people come together. Most of the people I would say have come from Sarah Landon's community, but not all of
Mhm.
them. But we just have the best conversations and it just all goes in the flow. We always come away feeling lighter and connected and all those lovely things. So I really wanted to reach out to Karen and say, come and do a truth and tarot time with me so that we can see what wisdom, we're going to do a little reading, what wisdom
Okay.
is coming up for us to discuss today. So, well, Karen was into tarot, but not so much now. But
Yeah, I took a course many years ago and it was fascinating, but for whatever reason, I didn't keep up with it. But I love it. I mean, I think it's wonderful.
it's a bit like having I sometimes talk about having a motorway to enlightenment, and then we have these little scenic routes that we go on. So for me, tarot and things like yoga would be a motorway, whereas other things, might be a little scenic route. So maybe for you, tarot was a little scenic route that you took, but it's not maybe your main thing. I've got four cards out. They're face down, so we'll see as I go. The card on the bottom is the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands has been coming up quite a lot lately. He's got the whole world, doesn't he, in his hands? It's
Mm.
that the world is our oyster, the universe is our playground. And I think that's relevant, isn't it, for us, Karen?
Oh, yes.
And
I'm
he's
feeling
the
that very
twos always
strong.
show decisions, and wands are fire, and they are physical action in the physical world. So I think this is about choosing, making that right choice for you, for what is right for you, what action is right for you, what action is going to raise your frequency, what action is going to align you with your destiny. And it's about making that. I sometimes want to use the word moral, but perhaps I really mean aligned. But it is a
Yeah.
time of making choices, isn't it? On all
Yes.
levels. Choices about what we eat, how we spend our time, how we spend our money, how we spend our energy, choice on how we choose to feel about things, and our choice on our thoughts, our beliefs. I mean, it goes on, doesn't it? But this is about taking a transformational, making transformational choices. I think I want to kind of say that, or in
Yeah.
alignment.
I love that because I am experiencing that kind of world. And I love the word choice. Another beautiful word is intention or whatever, but I choose. I use that a lot. I choose to see myself, my world, and everyone in it through the eyes of pure love. Or, I have a list of them. You know what I mean? And I think many of them have been incorporated, so I don't just read the list every day, but I consciously choose
Yeah.
um, kind of what I want to experience. And it keeps me in the higher vibration as well.
Well, definitely. And it keeps you reminded that you are the creator of your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're the creator of something, what you choose goes. Let's say you're the architect, you're the architect of a building, you're the boss. So what you choose goes. And I
Yeah.
see it that way. So yeah, definitely, because it kind of reminds you of your creative power, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, wow, look at this. The first card is the sun. And you know why I'm loving that. Now, this isn't going to be, it's going to be scheduled, so it's going to go out later on, but we are actually recording this the day after the summer solstice.
Yeah.
So for me, I did a little video about the summer solstice and well, about Cancer season. And I mentioned the summer solstice because, of course, it started on the 21st yesterday. But the sun, of course, it is Leo actually, but for me, the sun card would represent summer solstice, because of course the sun is so large in this picture, and the rays of the sun, which show spiritual guidance, are like the largest in, any of the pictures. Positive movement forward. The horse represents positive movement forward. We've got
Oh,
the
sure.
happiness of the sunflowers, and the baby, of course, shows rebirth and also about being childlike. I can see a theme already coming on because we're talking about playing in the universe. The world is our oyster, and now we want to be childlike, and this rebirth about playing and being happy. And I want to say spinning because spinning is my new thing at the moment. But spinning like a child. You see children and they spin, don't they? And
Yes,
they're so
yes.
happy, and I don't care if they fall over afterwards.
Exactly. That's part of
It's
the
it's
fun.
all of that, cartwheels on the grass and stuff like that. And so yeah, especially in the sun. I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, we've got, summertime. So that the sun is the most positive card in the deck. And it's a little reminder that the sun is therapy. I mean, as long as we don't stay out in it all day, the sun is therapy. So yeah, I mean that's a bit of vitamin D, natural vitamin D for us, isn't it? So
Yeah.
new action. We've got the ace.
Ooh.
So here we have the two making that decision. The ace is telling us to take that action, take that action. And this has been coming up a lot as well. So there's obviously inspired action that's coming to us, or inspiration, I should say, that's coming to us that we really do need to take action on. And it will be something, something that um, something that we used to do as a child, or something that we were engrossed in as a child. Funny enough, my son sent me a quote the other day from Carl Jung, and I can't remember it word for word, but it was basically along the lines of, as a child, what did you get completely absorbed in? Because whatever it was is key. It's a sign as to what you need to be doing, something along those lines. So there's definitely a message here. We've got the Page of Cups. Cups, of course, is heart, emotions. The fish represents wisdom, spirituality, intuition, all of those things. Intuition, inspired action from our intuition, definitely. Pages are opportunities and offers. So once we've chosen to take a step towards what our soul wants us to do, or a step towards what lit us up as children, once we take a step in that direction, then the universe will just bring us whatever we need. And we're going to have opportunities and offers to be able to do that, because pages, opportunities, offers, and like messengers coming in. And of course, it's all heart based, it's all heart centered. It's going to feel really good. And our last card is the High Priestess. Because the way to this archetype, I mean, she's so well respected and revered. Look, she's got the moon represents fears in life, like subconscious fears, and she has the moon tethered at her feet. So she's not in denial of her fears, but she's got them completely under control. The pillars, of course, show the duality and the perceived separation of the physical world. And there's all her abundance, the pomegranates behind her. She's very well read. She's read all the best books. We'll get on to that as well.
Yeah.
And so, yes, she is amazingly intuitive. She's got the most psychic abilities. Yes, she's definitely the high priestess. But if we want to get there, isn't this funny? Because in the old paradigm, we had to work hard and do all these things. But actually, in the new paradigm, we just need to play.
No, it's like, whoa, how did that take so long? But that's exactly right. I can feel the coherence of those cards. And as we were discussing briefly a little bit earlier, it really is about playing, creating, having fun. And you mentioned childhood, which I'm going to play with that a little bit after the call. But one of the things that I've been doing recently was brought to my attention is to connect more with the earth. So I've been walking barefoot in the grass. And I live in California. We don't have any grass in our yard, but there's a little park just a couple blocks away. And I have been doing that, not every morning, but most mornings. And it did flash to me. I love it. I love it. It's silly. People may watch me walking around this smallish patch of grass wondering what's going on, but I mean, it doesn't really occur to me. But it's beautiful. And I used to be barefoot in the grass, in the water, a lot in my childhood. So I don't know exactly what's coming through there. Certainly nature, of course, certainly being in the sun, as you mentioned. But it's just interesting that I am really feeling kind of your interpretation of those cards happening right now. It's very spot on, you know?
Well,
So
definitely, because also it does lead us on to your book, which I would love you to talk about, which is all about playing and the joy and ease of being you.
yeah, it's a little book, not very long, 123 pages. And so yes, it's your play, your purpose, and your power. And it's all about, I mean, as Deborah knows, we are all multidimensional beings, and we all have a higher self, or I call it a higher source in the book, because that just, to me, it feels more powerful. But all we need to do, it's not something you have to work hard for or struggle or strive. But if we choose to align with our higher source, which is who we really are, already living in the fifth dimension of pure love and frequencies like acceptance, peace, joy, love, unity, abundance, harmony, freedom, infinite well-being, like all the good stuff, it's all already there. And we simply need to tune in and align with it. And one of the main ways that we do that, certainly there's silence, stillness, and a quiet mind, nature, very powerful, but we play. And when we play, we naturally connect to our higher source, because our higher source is that playful, childlike energy. And yeah, it was quite a shock when I first got that message, because I didn't really know. I mean, I was an adult, right? I was probably 50 something, and I didn't really get what they meant. And I'm like, oh, play, that feels good. Maybe that's a way to expand my business, which frankly wasn't happening. And so I bought this book about play, and it was actually very good. And I'm like, how can I? And all of a sudden, I'm like, no, stop. Like, this was my higher source tapping me on the shoulder and saying, play, play, play. So that was a beautiful message that I got directly at a time where I was kind of like, what's going on? I thought this was my purpose, type of thing. And yeah, so I didn't know how to play, but I went outside and I walked around and I stopped scheduling things and I just kind of began going with the flow. And that's sort of how I live now. I mean, it's remarkable. It's truly remarkable.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
wanted to just
so
share. So when I
simple.
asked Karen what she does, right, not that we're putting labels on or anything, she said that she's dancing with life and living in the wow. I love that.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It feels so good. But yeah, that's the thing, is the fact that it's easy is what I think, especially in the past, has really tripped us up. We thought we had to work hard, and but as you know, um, as you do this, you're actually sort of going to a higher vibration, to a different dimension of a higher vibration, and it's all vibrational. So what we love about this, Deborah and I, and those who are sort of maybe just a little bit more aware of what's happening, is when you raise your vibration, not only does it your life begins to unfold in beautiful ways, but that's also the highest contribution we make to anybody else. So like it's all there. It's the unity, it's the joy, it's the play, it's just incredible. And so the book actually kind of came through me towards the latter part of 2020. And I set it aside for a long time, and lots of different things. But so I only actually recently, after streamlining and editing and doing all these things, published it sort of later last year. But yeah, And what's so fascinating to me personally is as the information came through and I wrote it down, I knew it was true. And I was already choosing, you know, many of these things and playing and all this kind of stuff. But in the 4 years since I got most of it through, I've actually, you know, aligned, tuned in, aligned, and then you begin to integrate that higher vibration into your body, into your cells, into your being. And now I live it. Now I've had realized it, integrated it, and life really has. I mean, occasionally do we slip? Sure. But basically, I'm living life at a very high, beautiful level. And even as I wrote the book, I wasn't probably exactly sure that it was all possible. But in fact, it has unfolded exactly as designed in the book. And it's been tremendous. And one of the things I love most about it is, you know, again, Deborah and I haven't known each other that long, but when you get to a certain level of energy, you draw people in that are of similar heart, similar vibration, similar energy. It's, it's beautiful, especially because many of us took this journey quite alone for many, many years. So I just love that part. The universe really does bring the people that you are here to play with and have fun with and create with into your lives.
Exactly. It's well, it's a obviously a frequency thing, isn't it? You
Mm-hmm.
draw in the people to play with. But I think what's an important point is what does play mean? I mean, yes, we talked about walking on the grass barefoot, and I've referred to the fact that I've started spinning and just like spinning around, and cartwheels. I always think I've got to keep doing cartwheels on the grass because as soon as I stop doing cartwheels on the grass, I'm at an age where I probably won't be able to do them again. So I need to keep doing
Oh
that.
yeah.
But it's for no purpose other than the smile on the face when you do it. And even if it's not very good and you fall, it really doesn't matter. But the point is, play, what play means to us will be different for each person because
Yes.
it will include, I want to say, your divine gifts. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I've found, especially doing the soul profile work, is that very often our divine gifts work against us when we're not aware of them or when we're less conscious. Um, Whereas it's about what do you wish you could have done as a child? Not always what did you do, but what were you
Oh, that's
stopped
an
from
interesting
doing?
point.
You
Yeah.
might be, I mean, I often use my son as an example because, you know, he taught himself the guitar in 2 years. And even my parents were saying he needs to study something academic at university. He can play his guitar at the weekend. And I was like, you clearly don't realize it's his gift. Like for he to teach yourself in 2 years and to get accepted at the Academy of Contemporary Music. I was
Oh
like,
my
fill your
gosh.
boots, study guitar, study whatever you want. You know, you've got to do it because it was coming through him. You know, I could see that clearly. But very often it's not something, you know, as a child, we might have been told, no, you can't do more of that. You've got to do. So many children are kind of
Right.
like with well-meaning parents, but our parents are probably the most programmed in the old paradigm.
Oh,
You've got to
absolutely.
do something academic. I mean, where's that getting anybody these days, being
Yeah, they wanted
academic?
to prepare us. They wanted to protect us. They wanted
Yeah,
us
I'm
to
not,
live
yeah,
better lives. And the good news
exactly.
is I think we found the better lives, but it was not the way they taught us.
But exactly, but the way I look at it, because now it's common sense, because to me, why would you have that gift if it wasn't for you to use? Because I can't play the guitar like him, you know, so we've got to identify our gifts. And as far as playing, to me, this is playing what we're doing, Karen.
Yes, absolutely.
Chatting and talking and connecting and writing books, you know, and then talk and sharing our opinions and stuff like that. To me, that's play. That's fun. You know, I've said this before. Even if nobody watches, it doesn't matter because we're having a laugh and it's our way of expressing who we really are. You know. as your
Yeah,
book
and
says, the joy and ease of being who we really are.
yeah,
So,
it's all there. You don't have to do anything. You just have to tune in and align, and you begin to feel it immediately, and then it keeps going, and it's a conscious expansion. That's what is so exciting. Is yes, this is things are fabulous, but it's only going to expand into more and more.
yeah,
And the play thing, just it is also could easily be said things that you love to do that bring you joy. That is when you're playing. So if anyone could think of those things and choose those more often, but I know I was stumped. I'm like, play. What do you mean by play? So I mean, I was rudimentary. I'd like go to the marketplace and just not have an agenda, and I get an impulse to go buy a crystal or something. So the play that day was to find a crystal shop and go buy a crystal. And I don't have a lot of crystal, but like interesting stuff like that that I never did because I didn't know how to expand into play. But then it became a little more. Now it's quite fluid, and now I can tell if I'm in a vibration that I'm enjoy and all that kind of stuff, and if I'm not, I can quickly correct it. But yeah, the play thing stumped me for several days before I just let go and said I'm
and
free.
allow. I think allow is
Oh,
a allow
yes,
yourself to buy that crystal. Allow yourself, to
because
do
I
whatever
don't
it
need
is.
a crystal. I don't do crystals. Why would I buy a crystal? But you buy the crystal when you're inspired to do that because it leads,
Exactly.
yeah, it
Don't
leads
let
you in
that human
adventure.
mind get in the way.
Yeah. The little adventures like that got me started. And I do, you mentioned yoga. I love Pilates, so that was
Yeah.
one of my things that I would always spend time on and really enjoyed. So
And also, it's going to change, I think, isn't it?
yeah.
What we do. And
Mm-hmm.
also, one of the things when I'm reading for people, one of the things I hear the most is like, but how am I going to support myself doing that? you know. And one of the things I love to do, which is very childlike, is puzzles. And there was actually a big part of me that felt ashamed of that. And I don't know where that came from. I think that must be something. No, I mean, I'm not judging here. I'm just being trying to be observational. But I think that came from being told as a child I should be outside doing something rather than
Yeah.
just. But actually, and of course, doing puzzles isn't going to pay the bills. But what it does do is it relaxes my mind to such an extent that I have amazing ideas. and and it's that the ideas could be really divine and those ideas may pay the bills, but even if it doesn't, it's nurturing my body and calming my nervous system. Anything that meditation does, relaxing the mind and calming down the nervous system and freeing up the mind, I want to say. And it allows for some daydreaming. And that is really precious because that's when your body can really kind of like expand into, and it's all happening on the inside. We don't have to know it's happening. So even things like, doing puzzles or whatever it might be, it's still amazing because there's still expansion going on. And it's that expansion because it's our level of consciousness is our new
Mm-hmm.
currency. That I want to say about paying the bills.
Absolutely.
That was a Sarah Landon quote, wasn't it? Your level of consciousness is your new currency. And when I mentioned like the daydreaming, it makes me remember all the days as a school teacher when I was telling children off for daydreaming. I'd love to go back to that version of me and say,
Oh.
Miss Deborah, can you please not tell them off for daydreaming because they're exactly where they should be.
Oh.
Because daydreaming, I think, is one of the most profound and healthiest things to do now.
Absolutely. First of all, I am ecstatic to know that you love puzzles because I love puzzles too. And I actually mentioned, I in the book it's about aligning and tuning into your higher self, and one area is sort of the silence, the stillness, the clearing of the mind, the meditation, and the other is the play. Well, I actually mentioned puzzles under there because absolutely, when you work a puzzle, you've gone still, You're looking at the shapes and the colors and the pieces in order to put them all together. So your mind is focused on that and everything else clears. Sometimes you're alone, sometimes you're not, but you've slowed down, you stop, you're still, and you're playing, and that is so powerful. That's the power of a puzzle. And I had similar thoughts as you. I'm like, well, geez, I'm really good at puzzles, but that's kind of silly. But it's not. It's a beautiful, fun, playful way to slow down, get still, and align with your higher source. And as you say, very often that's when ideas come through.
And integrate, because with these energies at the
Yes,
moment, I
yes,
mean, the
integrate.
astrology for July is off the scale. Um, we keep it keeps ramping up, doesn't it? This astrology, but the energies are coming in anyway, and we're integrating them anyway. It's whether we know it or not. So allowing that time to
Yes,
integrate stuff is really precious, I think.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I have some great puzzles to tell you about, but that's an offline conversation.
So,
uh,
what are some of the decisions? What are some of the decisions, would you say, or the choices that you've made that have helped you like the most on this journey as far as giving guidance to somebody else?
oh, what a great question. Um, well, um, I think the biggest one, and I first encountered this in a book long, long, long ago, but it's sort of like the realizing that I'm very analytical, and it never came from a bad place, and it was never malicious or anything, but I have a very judgmental nature because I like kind of analyze and um, also, even when I had this spiritual business, this energy healing business that I was trying to open up and unfold, I was still very serious about working hard, getting it done. What do I need to do? And so just to know that that's not really who I am.
Yeah.
Instead of that, I am like ecstasy and play um, and non-judgment, which is perfection, kind of to see everything as perfect. And that this journey is not, that's not really one thing. But at one point, someone actually said something to me about being judgmental. And I'd never really thought about it before. And sometimes it was just a like kind of thing, like, but that I was doing that to people. So that helped very much. Um, Again, the play was really, really useful at the time it came through when my business really wasn't unfolding because it could have been looked at as another failure or, another thing that I tried that didn't work. Instead, um, as my business was ending and I kept hearing play, 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 although I was confused, it's like, oh, I'm gonna, I'm done. I tried, it didn't work, I'm gonna play. And I just let go of everything and began just accepting and allowing. And I got involved in some other community things that I would have thought prior to that is not my gig. I had so much fun. I met so many amazing people in our community. So I was also very sort of solitudinal until then. And I was able to really get out there. I will say this is just kind of a tribute to my cat who passed away many, many years ago. But I used to think that my spiritual awakening started with a particular reading and this book that I read. But then I realized later it started when I got my cat because I used to come home from work in the corporate world very serious and it would take me like half an hour to unwind and just get comfortable. And then I'd have to get ready for bed and do it again. Once I had my cat, I walk in the door, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? How would I pick up the cat and pet it. And I immediately went to a whole nother vibration. And so it's kind of funny, but now I realize that that was the beginning of my spiritual journey because I was able to finally let go of the seriousness, the judgment, just cuddling with the kitty. And honestly, I started meditating, and this was long, long ago. And my cat would cuddle up in my crossed legs and meditate with me every single morning. It was amazing. So that's going way back. Um, I don't know. There's been so many steps.
Yeah.
I'm finding it a little challenging to zero in on one. But
Yeah, but I love what you said about and not taking life too seriously and how
yeah.
serious you were because it's quite funny, but one of the very first videos I did was my video on how to sway test. It's one of the things that I'm most
Yeah.
passionate about. Anyone that knows me or has followed me for any length of time will know that. It's what I've done most workshops on. And I actually wasn't really focusing on a YouTube channel, but I did my own video on it because I couldn't find a video on YouTube that said it the way I wanted to say it.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but in the video, I'm so serious. Like I'm so serious, and I'm trying to impart this information so seriously. And it is quite funny because the camera angle is so unflattering, completely at my midriff, you know. And my friend Liz, who you know, she said to me, "You're going to have to do that video again. It's awful." And I said to her, "Oh, it doesn't matter. No one's going to see it. It's just for the odd client, you know, here and there." But I put it on the channel because it's easier to share it that way. And now it's my second most watched video ever. And I
Oh,
can't be
wow.
bothered
I'm
to
gonna
change
watch
it.
that one.
I can't be bothered to change it. But now, of course, as you could see, you know, I've learned that you can have fun doing videos and you can
Yeah.
giggle and laugh at everything on them. So yeah, not being too serious and not taking ourselves seriously. I think that was a really important point that you said. And something else you said that I really agree with and like is the animals, the role that the animals play. Because I remember one time my dog ran off into the orange groves and decided to roll around in a load of mud. I was grateful it was mud because he has in the past rolled around in dead boar or you know or dead fish on the beach, decaying matter. But anyway, so he came out from the orange groves completely covered in mud. He's a white dog as well. And I just stopped myself from telling him off. I nearly started to tell him off. And then like, something told me it was like, he was so happy. He had this big smile on his face and he was so happy. And I stopped myself and I was like, what's the big deal, Deb? You know, so you're going to shower, you're going to wash him when you get home. It doesn't matter. He's just had an amazing time. And that's when I learned my lesson from dog, which is to roll around unashamedly and unapologetically in whatever brings you joy, even if other people don't get it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I did think of one actually came to me that might be kind of useful for many people, but I had, oh gosh, 25 years or 20 years in the corporate world and, getting a new job. And I'd move around a lot because I'd be like, no, this isn't it. I was looking for more. I was looking for more. So I'd change jobs pretty frequently, like every 2.5 to 3 years, sometimes in the same company. But, I'd been working for 20 years and I was just like, kept, I took risks. I moved to new cities. I, took care of myself financially. And I remember being in my living room one night and I was almost despondent. I was like, okay, I'm a smart girl. I'm willing to take financial risks. I'm not a big physical risk person, but I'm really willing to take financial risks. I'm willing to move. I'm willing to do anything. And somehow I haven't found, after all this time, the life that I really want to experience. And what was so powerful about that is like, with everything I know and have experienced, I still haven't found it. There must be something I don't know. That was a moment of surrender. 2 days later, I happened to have an intuitive reading with someone. I'd never had one of those before. They recommended me a book. I began to meditate. And that was when the whole thing opened. But I had to admit that I didn't know and that I needed help, basically. So that moment of surrender was really big, and it kicked a lot of things off. But I mean, that was a long time ago, but I felt it. It was almost like they came through and they started bringing me, my higher source started bringing me things to experience, to know, to awaken. That was a good one.
I think that surrender is really, really important. And it goes hand in hand with trusting as well, doesn't it? It
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of when I first moved to Pago, where the garden retreat was, but before I knew that the garden retreat was going to be born. And there I was with my son in a ancient, mobile home in a plot of land, and we had no water, and it was raining non-stop, which is unheard of for Spain. And everything was just mud outside, and I was like, what am I doing here? I was in my 50s, and there was part of me that felt shame, and there was part of me that just, I was like, what is going on? Why have I ended up in this dire situation? But something told me that there was something happening. I mean, my life couldn't have just gone from it was okay, I was running
Mm-hmm.
the healing retreats, with my husband in a bigger house. And suddenly I'm in this situation and I was like, what is going on? Like, but it's almost like common sense told me. I mean, I could say intuition, but common sense told me there's a reason. There's a reason. I just don't know what it is. So that was my surrender. And I just trusted. I trusted that something was going to happen. And little did I know it at the time, but it was just a few short weeks later that the garden retreat was born. And there it was. And I often say, couldn't you have told me? Like, you could give me the information, let me know. And it's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have believed us.
Yeah, probably weren't listening. Yeah, exactly. It's
Because
incredible.
also you don't want it until it's already there. It has to be given to us, I think, on a bit by bit. I know some people have massive awakenings with near-death experiences and everything, but for most of us, it's a little bit more gradual. And I feel like we get given information on a needs to know basis. And I think a lot of the reason is because our human mind wouldn't cope, and our
Yeah.
human mind would reject whatever it is. Because I thought I was going to go traveling with the husband. Little did I know that I was actually moving away from him. I mean, back now, of course, but no, it was an amazing time. But obviously, I was meant to be there, and that's the way the universe got me there. So it would have been suffering if I didn't have that level of surrender and trust that I had.
Exactly. It's that whole everything happens for you thing. And I was thinking with the book, again, I wrote that in 2020 when we were all, most of it in the end of 2020 when we were all alone. And through most of my spiritual journey, I had some groups in Minneapolis where I lived at the time, and but few. And so, as we've mentioned, it has been for many of us a pretty solitary journey up until a point. The information in the book came through me, and then I that's how I connected with Sarah Langdon, because she was channeling similar information. And not only was that an amazing, I guess it's been 4 years, but that's where in the book I say the universe will bring you all the people you need to play and create and have fun with. Well, I didn't have anyone when I wrote the book. I mean, my husband, not in the same space, wonderful person, amazing friends and family, but nobody who I could talk to about these kinds of things. And so not only did I kind of reach realization and um, totality, but that's when the community came in. So now I have friends all over the world, and more keep coming in. Like it's a remarkable thing. So I wrote the truth, but I hadn't experienced it until a little bit later.
But I think that's what we do, though. It's the same with this one, very kind of, I felt channeled. And these lessons in awakening were for me, of course.
Of
They
course.
were my lessons in awakening. Um, and we've talked before about how we were the project. Our books were our way of working on us and
Exactly.
on giving us the information that we needed in order to grow and expand into more of who we are. Um, and so we are always the project. The books are just helping us with it, or whether it be, a musical instrument or a piece of art, or, it could be putting on a play or something like that. But it's the process of doing that and dealing with people and nurturing the inspiration that comes through. And very often when you're in a creative project like that, it can get quite intense, can't it? I mean, it's relaxing because you're in your flow, but it gets to the point, it's a bit like childbirth, really, in the fact that it starts off all nice and lovely, and then it gets really quite intense as the whatever it is that you're birthing actually comes into manifestation. But that journey has all the downloads that you need, or the people, the aha moments, the clarification, I want to say, because it reminds me of something I learned many years ago when I was studying TEFL. I used to be an English language teacher. And it was something along the lines, don't quote me on the percentages, but it was something along the lines of we remember like 50% of what we read. We remember 60% of what we listen to, what we hear. We remember 80% of what we actually experience. And then it said we remember 95% of what we teach. And I remember at the time thinking, that can't be right. You must know something 100% to teach it. But as a teacher, I know you don't have to. And it's like, especially the second to last chapter in this book. I am not claiming to have embodied it's about the creating peace within. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we can nurture it, and we had that experience, that beautiful experience on our Power of 11, where we were just sitting in beautiful silence and stillness and peace, weren't we? Where the something was happening with all of our energy. So yes, we can cultivate it, but I'm not claiming to live in that frequency 24/7. But I think it's part of the journey. It's like we that's why sharing what we have been through, I think, is so powerful. And I used to say this to the parents at school when I used to get a stronger kid to show the weaker kid how to do something. And the parents might say, "You're using my child, to do your job." And I'm like, no, your child is consolidating everything, and it's giving them confidence because they can really understand what their thoughts are, putting their thoughts and your ideas, because we have so much information on a receptive level, but to actually put it into words and to actually pass it on to somebody else is what consolidates it into the cells of our own body. That's how we embody this wisdom, I think. So that's why I'm such a big fan of sharing this stuff and writing books and writing music and painting pictures and putting on plays and doing whatever we're doing. It's so important because it's really serving us to become more of who we are.
Absolutely. That was so beautifully said.
I just didn't catch you then. I don't know whether it was me
Oh,
or
I,
the
I
audio.
said, Deborah, that was so beautifully said and expressed.
Okay.
And I absolutely agree with it. I mean, we choose these things for ourselves, and then the idea or the possibility that it can uplift or inspire or empower anybody else is amazing. But I totally resonate with what you said. It all has to move through us. And it's pretty incredible. And if it benefits someone else, that's awesome. But as you say, I wrote that book for me.
Yeah. Well, our good friend Liz would always say, there is only me. And from a quantum perspective, she's completely right. And I do talk
Yes.
about it in this book. I mean, there is only me in my reality, creating my reality. There is only you in yours. I mean, from a quantum perspective, there's nothing outside of us. So this expression of who we are is the most important thing. I mean, that is the most important thing. There's no point in knowing stuff if you're not going to actually embody it. I mean, it's I've said it so many times, the Pablo Picasso quote, isn't it? The meaning of life is to find your gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Because I think it puts us, I mean, divine self-expression, expressing who you really are. It's authenticity. A lot of people put authenticity at a frequency above love. It's the most powerful thing. And it doesn't matter, I've said it before, it doesn't matter if you're expressing it to one person, 10, 100, or a million. It is the whole point of you getting it out of you. And that's why they often say a problem shared is a problem halved as well, don't they? Because very often, and also why holding space for people is so powerful, because allowing people to actually think their own thoughts and talk through their problems actually helps them find their own answers. And especially when you do that from a place of acceptance and non-judgment,
Yeah.
you're allowing them to actually access their own shadow because they know they're not going to be judged and they're going to be accepted when you and then they can reclaim these parts, these shadow parts that we tend to push our shadows away, right? Oh, that's not me,
Mhm.
I don't want, but that's why no one feels completely complete. We want to feel complete, so we've got to be able to talk warts and all, shadow and all. So just holding space for other people to that allow them to do that, allows them to express all of who they are. And that is also us, of course, holding space for us, because that's also part of who we are. Love, patience, kindness, compassion. They're
Acceptance.
not qualities that we need to learn. They're our innate qualities that we need to unearth. That's the
Exactly.
right.
It's our true nature. That's who we really are. That's why it's simple. That's why it's powerful. You have to play and practice a little bit. And as you point out, you don't want to avoid, um, I don't know, the shadows or whatever you like to call them. It's more that you love yourself through. You notice you might have a difficult emotion. You notice it, feel it, you experience it, you express it. You need to express it, and then it'll sort of transmute. But that's part of you too. And so it's the unwavering love of yourself and everything that you're going through and everything that's coming up. And I mean, I do feel that there comes a time when there won't be many bumps in the road anymore. I don't have many bumps now, but they do come up. But I'm so much wiser in, oh, I see. Let's make a cup of tea. Let's take a rest. Let's be still. Let's work a little puzzle. That's it. Like really being kind and loving and nurturing and honoring to yourself through those difficult times. And as you say, the ability to, when you express your emotion, it could be talking to someone about it. It could be saying, I don't know, I've been doing really great, and all of a sudden I flop. Um, it is important to say that, because once you say it and you put it out there, and someone's holding space for you, it transmutes into their life. And
Yeah, and I think it reminds me of a quote as well, and I can't remember their name. It was a long Indian yogi name, but he said that there is nothing in life that can't be improved from taking a breath. And so, yeah, you find these bumps in the road. There's going to be bumps in the road. We're not, but it's not about avoiding the bumps in the road. It's about, you slow the car down, take it easy, go into first gear, go into that, take it slowly, take a breath, over you go. You know, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It's
yeah,
about,
and no judgment, because sometimes, I mean, it's less frequent now, but there have been times, I'm sure you would agree, that sometimes those bumps last a day or two or a few days, or you know what I mean? No self-judgment. Just love yourself through the experience. Choose what feels best to you, even if someone else wouldn't choose it. And just sort of, it's that allow again, isn't it? Allow the feeling, allow the emotion, allow the circumstances to be maybe not quite what you anticipate, because in fact, there's a divine symphony of perfection operating out there that has your back. Your higher source knows why it's happening. Will guide you through it.
Yeah, trust it. Trust it. So what would you say, Karen, was a takeaway message from your book?
Oh, so many. Um, well, there's a part in it that is a channel. It's all channeled, but there's a channel part from a higher, even higher level, and it's to think about it as being in tune. You know, you're an instrument. You can play a guitar, and if it's out of tune, you can still play it, but it doesn't sound that well. It's not pleasing to the ear. It's not what your soul wanted to hear. But if you take a couple minutes to just tune the guitar, you can play that same song. Beautiful. That's who we are. If we take a couple of minutes to align, deep breath, go out and play, spend some time in nature. There are unlimited ways to do that. We get in tune. We're in tune with our higher source. We're in tune with the universe. And we naturally take our place in this divine symphony of perfection. And we add our harmony and our light and our love. And, in the channel part, it also says, you see people who maybe aren't quite there, they're out of tune. That's it. They're just out of tune. They're not horrible people. They're out of tune. And I love that analogy because it's everyone um, has this possibility. And if they haven't chosen it, no judgment. They're just a little out of tune. And someday they'll learn how to tune in and join the symphony.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I want to say as well, get a pet because they play such a big role, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you
Oh,
want to say or share before we say goodbye?
uh, get out there and play. Have fun. Play, create, have fun. Do things you love to do. When you feel that little rush, that's you and your higher source playing together. And that can continue forever in those beautiful vibrations.
Yeah, and follow that excitement because that
Yes.
excitement, yeah, that's how I'm feeling about my trip to England. Although by the time this goes up on on the channel, I would have been and come back again. I'm curious to know how it all goes, of course. But there's this excitement. Excitement is the physical translation of our of us being in alignment with our soul's blueprint. And so when you feel that excitement, um, it's there for a reason because what excites me probably wouldn't excite you or the next person. So you have to ask yourself, why do you feel excited? It's for you to realize it. It's for you to carry it out. It's a sign that you are meant to do whatever it is. So yeah, that excitement's really important as well, isn't it? And
Yes.
children get so excited, and animals, especially dogs, get so
Yeah.
excited. Look how excited a typical dog gets just for going for a walk, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
about let's go for like the wow. You said living in the wow, just going for a walk, and then seeing the wow in your walk or whatever you're doing. Look for the wow, and then you'll find it. Having a wow time.
Have
Karen,
fun.
thank you so much. It's been such a joy, and we must do it again.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I would love to do that. Thank you so much. I was very excited to come and I've just had an amazing time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to put a link to your book in the description if anybody wants to go to. It's on Amazon, isn't it? It's available on Amazon.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Because that sounds perfect. And yeah, I will connect with you soon. So
All
thank you,
right.
Karen, and thank you
Thank you,
to
Deborah.
anyone that got to the end of the video. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Sending you all so much love. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.